Hi everybody, it's Sarah Cray and I teach watercolor, and today we are doing our Let's Make Art Matter postcard for our Let's Make History subscription box. So the whole theme of this box is we were focusing on the greats through art history. We did Van Gogh, we did Matisse, O'Keeffe, and Monet, personal favorite. And as I was creating this box and thinking about Let's Make Art Matter, I was thinking about how wonderful it is to have teachers and how they take the time to explain things and also like try new things and then share what they've learned. And the sharing of knowledge is just the greatest gift. And I know that sounds so corny, but I just feel like teachers, they do so much for us. And you can have teachers in various different ways, but this month we really wanted to celebrate the teachers of Creekville Ranch School in Roseville, California, which is kind of where I'm from. So
Fun.
I know some of those.
Oh, wow.
But anyways, especially with, I mean, they do so much for us even before the pandemic. And after the pandemic, it's just like double the amount of work because you're doing like in person and online and having, you know, it's just been a lot. It's been so much. And so I just wanted us to take a moment and send a postcard to that school and bring a smile to those teachers' face and just appreciate them for all of their hard work and what they do for our students and the kids and the community and all of it. So
nice.
We are doing kind of our own version of a Starry Night Sky.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. So what we have here is we are using the same colors from the Starry Night project. We have tiger orange, deep blue, and magenta. And we have our postcard, which if you get our subscription box, it should be pre-addressed and pre-stamped. So all you have to do after you paint is drop it in the mail. And we'll just do this project in 3 steps. So we're just starting with our underpainting layer, and then we're gonna do our light and medium values, and then our dark values.
Nice.
I don't know how many steps that was. Does that match the number that I said?
I lost count.
Great. That's okay. So I'm gonna use a pencil, and I'm just gonna sketch. Now, you can, if you wanted to just like crop in the Starry Night painting and like go off of that as your reference, you're welcome to. I decided just to slightly change up the composition on this and make it a little bit more my own. So I put the moon over here. So I'm just kind of doing a circle, and then you can do your crescent inside. And then I'm just putting stars throughout. So I'm just doing light sketches, rough circles. Can they see those pencil marks?
Yes, they can.
Okay, perfect. And you can change, like some are big, some are small. Play with it. And then for me, what I wanted to do here is what is so fabulous about Starry Night and Van Gogh is the movement in the sky. And so I actually wanted to do a composition where there is movement and also there is not movement. So I created a little pathway in the middle here. It's gonna go like this. So these marks are gonna kind of be moving at an angle, and then the ones on the bottom and the top are just horizontal and straight. Do you see that?
Yep, cool.
That was just something that I chose, but this is your postcard. So if you want movement throughout, do movement throughout. If you want it all static, do it all static. If you want to paint something totally different than this, do it. It's your postcard. You can paint whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the underpainting here, you want to go with watercolor. Your first layer is going to be your lightest values within this painting. So I am going to start with, let's just start with the stars, why not? So I'm adding a little bit of water, and I'm pulling a little bit of color onto my palette with the water so it's a nice light yellow. And I'm just going to paint over the circles that I have here. Now if you want to like erase your circle, your pencil marks, so they're not as obvious, you can. I'm fine sometimes with a little bit of pencil marks. Like, I'm not opposed to pencil marks.
No, I love pencil marks.
I think they're kind of cool. It doesn't really bother me. But if you don't want them to be seen, erase them before you put paint down. Okay, and then our middle kind of like wave movement where there's gonna be movement, I'm gonna grab a little bit of my blue, my deep blue, and I'm gonna give it a slight turquoise feel. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of yellow and mix that in. Now you want to make sure you have more blue in this mixture so it doesn't turn green. That's a good color. I like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to paint this middle section here. And it might run into that yellow and bleed a little. That's okay. Not a big deal. I'm using my round 6 here, by the way. Now, you're free to use whatever brushes you have, but I feel like with this size postcard and the area, a 6 is good. And then I forgot to do this little yellow mark right here, so I'm going to add that now. Not a big deal. Okay.
This looks super cool already.
It's actually been in the watercolor group, Let's Make Art Watercolor. People have been doing their own versions and been posting the different stages because you do so many layers. It has been so cool.
Dang.
It's been so fun to see. So yeah, I agree. I think the underpainting is really fun. Okay, and then for the top and the bottom, I'm adding water to my blue to get a light value of that same hue and just doing straight blue. Filling in all the space. I am kind of overlapping some of the areas. Now remember with underpaintings, I give myself a little bit more permission to be loose, to not be so detailed with it, because it's just the underpainting we're going to layer on top of it. Okay, so now we're going to do our light and medium values. So I'm going to start with the stars because at this point they're dry. And I'm just going to put in I'm using my 2, and I'm just going to put in my moon right away using straight tiger orange.
Which is a beautiful color.
Such a good color. Now if you want to add a little bit of enrich that orange color to make it, or that yellow color to make it more orange, grab a little magenta, add magenta to your tiger orange, and you'll get like see that? More reddish orange.
Wow.
Yeah. So it just kind of accentuates that color. And then I'm going to take just straight tiger orange with a little bit of water because we're doing more light and medium values. And I'm just going to start doing dashes around. Now you can do a full moon. You can do you don't have to do this crescent shape. I did try it where I kind of did the whole circle and I didn't like it as much, so
Did it make it feel, how did it make it feel then?
The full circle?
Yeah, because it seems like I like the half circle, but the full circle sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
I think I don't know why. It just didn't strike me as visually interesting. But that's just my personal preference too. So
that makes sense.
So I tried it.
I don't know how that can be.
I tried it on this one, and then you can see I kind of lifted up color from where it was. I don't know. I don't know. Keaton, don't ask me questions that I don't know.
So sorry.
Okay. So we're going to do the other stars, and I'm just using my 2. And you can do little brush strokes kind of going around. Now the blue sky in these sections are going to be different, but for the stars, I pretty much kept that brush stroke circular, that direction circular around the star itself. Kind of reminds me of doing roses.
Oh yeah. I love watching the lines that you put down on with you're using the round 2, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love those lines. I don't know what it is, but they just seem so right.
I know what you mean. They're like a little bit thinner.
Yeah.
So they feel nicer?
Right.
Kate and I are having a really hard time communicating why we like something.
It's just good.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is the other sections are dry where I can go in and do the light value on those other sections. So for the middle section, I'm going to grab more of that yellow and a little bit more of that blue. I'm going to grab more blue than yellow because I definitely want it to still read as blue as opposed to green. And add a little bit of water in there because again, we're going for a light or a medium value. Okay, and then I'm gonna look at, first of all, the wave on the side. So I'm gonna follow the contour of that with these brush strokes and also the contour of the circles. So what I mean by that is along this edge, I'm going along this line, you see?
Yes. Almost like those spots have gravity to them.
Yeah, and the same thing with the stars. When I meet a star, I'm gonna start going around it. And this is where you're gonna let your mind zone out a little bit because it's just repetitive marks following the contour of this movement. And I think that at this point, what we're doing right now, there is a benefit to doing repeated brushstrokes and having it be a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like meditative. Let your brain wander because you don't have to be looking at values right now. We're just making, you don't have to be looking at the reference photo a ton. You're literally just doing repeated lines.
Can I add to that?
Yep.
If you're like me, regardless of you knowing that you have time to do this, you might be thinking about something else in an anxious way. Focus. Focus to the point that you are in a meditative state on this specific task, because this is good for you.
Yep. A lot of, I try meditation every now and then. I'm not professional at it. But a lot of it is just focusing and being present. It's not about leaving your body, it's about being aware. And sometimes it's just like, sometimes my meditations are just me counting my breath. And you can do the same thing with your brush stroke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. If you're having a hard time not focusing on all of these other things that are just kind of taking over your brain, it's just easy to like count and repeat that counting, and it just kind of like centers you. Can we just take a second? And I am in love with these colors right now. That looks so, this looks so cool that I almost don't even want to keep painting. This
Honestly,
is how cool this looks.
It makes me think of something is frozen, and there's that one course of one river of thawed water going through it.
For me, this just feels so whimsical and night and movement, but also like calm movement, like a soft wind on a summer evening when the moon is shining bright, rocking you to sleep.
You got a plate of ribs next to you. I see it. I can
You're
feel
there?
I can almost smell it.
Okay, so to have a difference, and this was just my preference, so you can go off of this. In this section, I followed the contour of the lines, and in the top and bottom, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do more static, which means they're all just going to be horizontal lines. That might not be what you want, and that is so okay. I'm not offended. Feel free to switch it up. And then when I meet the stars, they're just gonna kind of stop. Skip over them. Keep going. Just try and, what's the word? Not overlap. Oh, I almost had it. Alternate, maybe?
Oh.
What's that word, Keenan?
Oh, I'm thinking, it's not alternate?
No, there's a better word.
You don't want to have a pattern that is
You don't want all the
consistently
lines.
rows.
You don't want all the lines lined up.
Yeah, you want it staggered.
Staggered! That's it.
There it is, nailed it.
Thank you.
First try.
Don't forget the top here.
I almost want to say staggered, but that's Hagrid. I think. Like as
That's
I said,
staggered and Hagrid put together.
Yeah, as I said staggered, I was like, that sounds like a character.
That rhymes with someone I know.
A giant.
Only through movies, though, because you haven't read the books.
I have seen the movies. A couple of them. A few, maybe a few. I really remember names and some actions. I don't remember a lot. I remember that it's great, and I consider myself Ron Weasley.
You consider yourself what?
Ron Weasley.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love him. He's fun.
And you have red hair.
And I have red facial hair, so yes. When it grows.
Okay, so I'm almost done with doing my horizontal lines.
Also, I'm British. It's a fake American accent.
I'm just so in love with this project.
I love the hint of green in the middle.
Me too.
It's so good.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to like our medium dark values. Now, as I've said in the tutorial video, it's up to you how many layers you wanna do. And honestly, at this point, this can be done. Like this is where you get to exercise your right as a creative and as an artist to make decisions for your own painting. So feel free to stop or keep going, depending on what feels right for your painting. Okay, so I'm gonna mix a darker value of that same kind of turquoisey color. And I feel like it needs to be a little darker. And I keep adding blue in there because I want to make sure it reads as a turquoisey blue and not a green. There we go. Oh, that's cool. And just layer. And I'm using my 2 because like Keenan mentioned, I used my 6 in this one, but I do like how thin these lines are with my 2, especially on this size postcard. So I'm going to keep going with my 2 here. Just love the calmness and the quietness.
Yeah. This would be great for the teachers to do.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it would be fairly difficult to be a teacher. I don't want to say dealing with, but dealing with. Because I've got children.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And they're good to their teachers, but man, if there's, however many are in a class, I have no idea.
It ranges.
It ranges.
It really does
Okay.
range. Like, there are some classes that have like 30 kids and some
Yeah.
that have like 12.
Right.
I think it depends on where you're living and the size of the district and things like that. Okay, now we're going to do our blue on the top and bottom, and for this one I am just using the straight deep blue color. I'm not mixing it with any other color. That is a preference. That is a choice that I made. You do not have to make that same choice. I guess what I wanted to show you in this project is how the movement and the direction of the brushstroke informs the movement. And so when there are these just like horizontal lines like this, to me that reads as static, like still. And when there's different directions and it's going around these different contours and it's kind of curvy, for me that is showing that's like active, that's like actually moving, where the other parts are still. And I just wanted to see what it looks like to have them next to each other.
It does automatically think, and I don't know if it's because the moving in the middle is going from a top left to a bottom right, but I consider it all to be flowing from top left to the right.
Mm-hmm. You consider all of it, like the horizontal lines
The
too?
horizontal, not so much moving, but like pointing to what direction. Like it makes it like it all makes it combined feel like it's going from left to right.
Yes. Well, definitely because of where we started the wave, our eye is going like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is great because that's a great example of how brushstroke tied with composition leads our viewer's eye. And I know it sounds a little bit silly, but as you're painting and creating things, you can have a say in where your viewer's eye goes. Like you can create that journey for them. Where for me, like if you wanted it to where they're like, I just want them to take in this postcard all at once and have it feel even, then if you get rid of this wavy green section and do all horizontal straight blue lines, that would be a very much still even painting. Your eye would probably draw to this because of how big and the color difference between the rest of it. But besides that, it would kind of just be like still. Does that make sense?
Stationary, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more stationary. Or if you wanted your viewer's eye to go up, you can do the opposite where maybe the wave starts at the bottom and goes to the top right corner. So like just thinking about things like that when you're sketching it out of where do I want my viewer's eye to go in the direction? Okay, and I'm going to go back into the stars and do some stronger orange in those stars. And you can do like a dot in the center if you want. Boop. Boop. And you can let the yellow go outside of the blue, like kind of overlap a little bit. And when I'm getting into that territory, I'm doing, in the dark blue section, I'm going to do some horizontal lines along the edge to match the other brush strokes. And then in the center here, I'm going to keep them round. Don't forget your moon. Okay, and now what I'm going to do, because this is feeling very separate, not only in brushstroke, but in color, which isn't a bad thing, but I'm gonna add some just the same blue into the center of this to try and combine those spaces a little bit more. That does not have to be your choice. I just want them to speak to each other a little bit more than what they're currently doing.
No matter how long or how many videos we've done, it always amazes me to see a blank page turn into something like this within a few minutes.
Yeah.
I love it.
It is pretty, I don't know, satisfying and kind of amazing, where it's just like, there was nothing and now there is something.
Right.
And that's like, and it feels good even from like the maker's perspective, the artist's perspective of, it might not be perfect and it might not be the best and it might not be celebrated or awarded or appreciated, but the act of creating something out of nothing is so satisfying. Okay, for me, that feels better. This painting feels a little bit more one now that I added those blue. I'm gonna do a little bit of yellow, like kind of like throughout, going back to like our Starry Night when there was like glare spots almost of yellow. Not a ton, but just like a little here and there. I felt like that orange was too dark, so I'm gonna lift it. There we go. There's our postcard. Isn't that nice?
It's lovely.
I love it. I really do. And you can use this same technique of the brush stroke and the dashes with like so many different subjects. Look outside and try this on something else. Paint an apple this way, you know, like do a still life, paint your cat.
Well, you mentioned roses or flowers, I mean.
Yeah, yes. But there's something relaxing about repeated brushstroke and that movement, allowing your brain to wander and also to be present. I guess we kind of said both. We're like, allow it to wander, but focus.
Focus.
This is why we do not teach how to meditate, because those are conflicting thoughts. But our intention is pure.
Yeah, we want to help. We don't know how.
And we want you to just enjoy this time that you're taking for you to create something. Again, if you're not entirely sure what our Let's Make Art Matter postcard is, we do every subscription box that we put out, we do a pre-addressed and pre-stamped postcard. We pick an individual or a group that we send them to so they can receive essentially an art hug, because everyone can use a little extra appreciation and love and thought. And so our goal is, as we're celebrating great artists and teachers, we want to celebrate the teachers in our lives today. So I hope you paint this. I hope you grab a friend or your child. I mean, maybe if this doesn't go to the Creekville Ranch School, maybe drop it in your kid's backpack and just write a little thank you note on the back for your kid's teacher. You know, just show your appreciation. It makes the world a kinder place. If you want to nominate anyone, you can find our nomination form on our website, letsmakeart.com. Just scroll to the bottom. If you are not a subscriber but you still want to participate, just email our customer happiness team, hello@letsmakeart, and they will send you the address so you can participate. We appreciate you so much. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.